Good morning, Becky. Sebreb.
Morning, chat.
Creations. Good to see you. Nova,
Is it
I see you
cold
in
where you
chat,
guys are,
Nova.
chat? Because it's
Hey, hold
cold
on. Did
here.
you pick pink for your name, or is that just chance?
That's just whatever Rumble put in there. That's my
Gay?
feminine side.
All right.
Or I'm secretly transitioning before your eyes.
Oh, we can tell. It's not a big secret. So right before we went to start, my dog was outside, and I kicked him out, or I let him in, but I kept him out of this particular room. He might not be going for that, so grab
We'll
your
see.
coffees. You got your coffee? I've got my coffee.
Tea.
You drink tea? Ah, I
Oh,
should have
fuck yeah.
known the transition thing. Yeah, I just said that.
The British Empire was built on tea.
Okay. So,
There's actually more caffeine in a pound of tea than a pound of coffee.
um, yeah, okay. Is that okay?
You can fact check
I
me
like
on
the way coffee tastes. Can you make tea? I guess I really just like the way cream and sugar tastes.
it.
Warm.
Are you an instant coffee or a Keurig? How do you do your coffee?
No, I do my coffee. I'll do all the ways. I don't care. There's been instant coffee that I love. I don't mind camping with instant coffee. It definitely tastes wrong, but I don't. I like it.
I
But I
used to
usually
love
just use a
drink.
coffee pot. My standard way is just to use the coffee pot. I like Kona coffee. I grind it
Do you have a
myself.
region of beans?
Yeah, I like region of beans. There, it's
Like,
Hawaiian Kona coffee. Comes
okay.
from Kauai.
If you can find Ethiopian beans in
Nah, too
my
skinny. Too skinny.
medium roast, they're fucking, it's really good.
Is
I
it
used to be a coffee snob.
Ethiopian?
Ethiopian medium roast,
Okay.
if they're available.
Good morning, beautifully. Hold on, I'm gonna Google up
Hey,
this
good morning.
Ethiopian shit. If these are skinny beans, I'm gonna laugh. Ethiopian. Are they
It's
real
it's a
dark?
less bitter bean,
Okay.
so it's coffee. It's still coffee, but it's less bitter.
Oh
Oh, and there's
no.
there's a secret tip I watched. Is take a pinch, like a half a pinch of salt, and put it in your coffee,
Oh,
or not even a half, just like a little bit of salt. Just sprinkle some granules in there, and somehow it interacts and changes the palate.
to make it what? Taste like tea?
Tastes better. No, it tastes better.
Okay.
It takes the bitterness out of the coffee, so it tastes like coffee without that. No,
That's what the cream and sugar's for. Do you use cream and sugar?
milk and honey.
Milk and honey. Okay, so yeah, sorta. How do you? How? What color is your coffee when it's perfect?
Coffee like a tan.
Okay, so and you do you still use the salt thing, or do you just rely on the honey and milk?
I put sugar in coffee, honey and tea.
Okay. And do you put cream in or milk in both of those?
Usually, sometimes I'll go for a cream just if I'm feeling frisky.
It feels really gross to put cream in or milk in tea. Like I feel like I just want to throw up a little bit.
I use homo milk.
Who?
Oh, you guys don't homogenized? Is that what you guys call it
Oh,
there?
homo milk.
We
You
call it
guys really
homo. Like if he's like, "Where's the homo milk?" They'll just say it's right there. Like it's just normal language here.
Good morning first. He says he drinks black coffee.
Good morning. I did when I was trying to lose weight. I went straight for the black.
What? What is Oh, because too much cream and sugar make you fat?
Yeah, because I drink like 5 or 6 cups a day, easy.
Mm.
But if you burn the calories, it doesn't matter.
So there's this scene in the Flintstones, the one where they're like live playing with Holly Berry.
I haven't seen it.
What? You've seen every fucking retarded movie ever.
The
This is the
Flintstones.
one movie I've seen.
I've seen the cartoon, The Flintstones.
You never saw the Flintstones movie? Hold on, it might be worth looking up. Let me just educate you for a second. I mean, everyone has at least seen the Halle Berry part.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
let me look.
I don't. Oh, that's not the Hal. I'm thinking Black Halle Berry.
Yeah, there's only one. There's but the one.
No, isn't there a young one and an old one?
If that's true, then that second one needs
Yeah,
to fuck off.
there's an old one my age, and then there's a young like 20-year-old something, 22-year-old.
That's ridiculous. Okay, let me just educate you for a second.
I remember John
Am I
Goodman.
interrupting?
Oh, what is that? That's
Not
the
at
sexy
all.
Halle Berry.
Fred, I'd like you to meet your new secretary, Miss Sharon Stone.
My secretary?
Personal secretary, Mr. Flintstone. That is, of course, if you want me.
She's one of the few girls who looks attractive with short hair.
Great.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I don't.
I'm sure
Some
the
of them,
two
yeah,
of
some
you
of them do.
Few.
I
There's
do
few
like
girls
them.
that can pull it off. She's definitely one.
Okay, the whole point of this is eventually she's gonna get him some coffee, and she goes, "How do you like your coffee?" And he says, "Hot," instead of
Black.
black, which would have been the perfect thing to say here. Anyways, I can't believe you've never seen this. Yay for that. Okay.
Not in my genre. What year did it come out? I was probably playing rugby and not watching any movies.
That's a good question. This clip is from
I'm guessing it was the
2012. It
early.
says Halle Berry is 26 at the time in this movie. She looked
Fuck
kind of old.
no, no way.
I drink a pot 6 to 8 cups a day. Yeah, I'm always.
And don't
drinking
believe that
coffee.
bullshit lie with they used to say that coffee dehydrates you. It's a lie. It's a myth. It's not true.
What does it do?
Well, it was the old myth that drinking coffee was a diuretic. It would make you pee out more than you were drinking in, but it was just an urban legend and a myth to try and get people not to drink coffee for whatever reason.
What that no?
Yep. So drink all the
Do I
coffee
need-
you want. It does not dehydrate
Is
you.
there a freaking paramedic in the house? Good
Yeah.
morning,
Do we have a
Sparky.
paramedic?
Yeah, I need to know if coffee's not. This is a lot. Nova. I'm gonna look this up.
Oh, trust
Is
me.
coffee
I was
a diuretic?
seeing a girl who we weren't dating, but she stopped talking to me because I told her that coffee is not a diuretic. And when she fact checked me, she realized I was right and was so mad that I was right that she just that was it.
Dumped your ass.
Well, we weren't dating, so.
She stopped doing sex with you.
Oh no, we weren't even that close. Not even kissing yet. We're just like going out for socialize and getting to know each other.
We weren't even kissing yet.
No.
That's
Well,
why
you
she
don't-
dumped you.
Do you
She's like,
kiss
"He
on the
gay.
first
He's so
date?
gay." I mean, yeah, probably.
I got to test the limits. I got to ask him about flat Earth and the politics and transgender
That's what she did
stuff.
with you. She's like, "Bye." Okay, some studies suggest drinking coffee, whether caffeinated or decaffeinated, may actually reduce your
Can't
risk
see.
of developing diabetes. I'm just trying to find the right thing.
Diabetes, maybe if you put sugar in it.
Is coffee a diuretic? Caffeine is
Coffee's actually good for your heart.
Okay, look what's happening here. I don't know
Now,
if I'm gonna
abusing
give away my
coffee is
personal
not,
information.
but coffee is good. Same as wine. One glass of
Yes,
wine a
coffee
day.
is a diuretic. This means that it increases urine production and can cause dehydration if consumed in large amounts. However, most research suggests that the fluid in caffeinated drinks balances the diuretic effect of typical caffeine levels. Therefore, moderate coffee consumption is unlikely to cause dehydration. But you're wrong. It is a diuretic,
No,
and the amount
that
we
article's
drink
wrong.
does fucking cause.
That article is wrong. The internet is wrong.
Oh my god, she just want to break up with your dumbass. Okay,
All right, Chad, someone's got to do an
this.
experiment. You can only drink coffee for a week. We're going to see if you die.
It doesn't diuretic doesn't mean you're gonna die, you retard.
No, it means you're going to piss out more than you intake, which means you will eventually die.
No, I don't think it means you're gonna piss out more than you intake.
That's what diuretic means. You're not absorbing as much water as you're expelling.
Oh. So it's the caffeine that
Like,
does that.
That's what
It
they were
says.
trying to say, insinuate, but it's not true.
That's what they do say. Look.
I know it's what they do say, but it's not true. I'm telling you, it's not true. I'll find my facts somewhere.
This is, I guess, hydrate as well as water.
What
Obviously,
year
that's
was
not
this, too?
true.
Check the year on it.
This- The comments, well, I don't know if that counts for anything. I don't know. The comments were from January of this year.
Try typing in
It's written by
caffeine
a
is
lady named
not a
Catherine. You
diuretic.
can't really trust somebody with this type of name.
No. Try typing in.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You're either you half right, you half wrong, whatever. What
I'll take the half right, you take the half wrong. We'll share.
you can have them both, dude. You're not special. That's what we're
What's
trying
that
to get at.
Sloan song? If you admit that you're wrong, I'll admit that I'm right.
I don't know it. I can't believe you've never seen the Flintstones, but you know this trash. Okay, we're gonna get into chapter 3 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. This is Mark Manson's book. I forgot to tag him on Twitter this morning.
Oh,
well.
yeah.
I've been
He jumped
tagging
in
him. One of
chat.
these days he's gonna respond, and then we're gonna have him on the show. That could be
Yes.
our New Year's resolution. Hey y'all,
Well, do
if
you want me to
anybody
just
knows-
ask him?
Yeah, if you could just ask him,
I'll just
that would
ask
work.
him.
You can't directly talk to these people, and we don't have check marks, so they don't give a fuck about us.
You just ask somebody who has a check mark to do it for you.
Sparky, I'm gonna need your borrow your check mark, please. He's the only person I think I know that has one. Oh, Madcore does. Oh wait, does
Oh, there you
Madcore?
go.
I don't think he's
Yeah, I
met.
just can't justify paying $8 a month to troll people.
I know you can do it for free. You don't need a check
I
mark.
can do it for free. I don't need $8. Like,
You don't
there's no added
underestimate how
benefit.
much people want to see negative information about themselves. They say they only look at the check
It's
mark people,
crazy,
but
right?
they're wrong.
They'll scroll through 30 like good comments and find the one negative and reply. It's crazy.
Yeah, they want to fix it. Oh, I'm guilty of that. Okay, so here we are, not giving a the first chapter was don't try, meaning don't try to be something you are not, be who you are. It will get you there faster. If you aren't getting the results you want, try something different.
Right.
And truly happy people don't tell themselves that they're happy in the mirror every day as a mantra. They just are. And if you have to do that, what you're doing somewhere in the back of your mind is confirming that you aren't already. Like, I'll get there is also the same thing as saying, I'm not there, I'm not there. So
Right.
stop doing that. Accept who you are, love who you are, be who you are, and you'll be surprised how fucking successful you could be at that. That's chapter
There's-
1. If you missed it, it was 2
Yes.
weeks ago, Tuesday. And the cover looks exactly like this thumbnail, so it's making it easy.
There's a
Last
crazy
week,
trick if you catch yourself thinking negative, like, oh, I'm so lazy, oh, I'm so bored, or oh, I'm so sad. If you can catch yourself saying that and then just think about fucking puppies or something, like, hey, I just caught myself on the stupid hamster wheel. Let's put my hamster on a good hamster wheel. And the trick is catching yourself thinking stupid.
okay.
It'll change you from staying on that hamster wheel. It's like,
Look at
oh,
that,
yeah,
now
I
we can
am being a
relate.
fucking retard. Let me fucking go watch something that makes me laugh or anything. Just catch yourself on that wheel.
Catch yourself. Fake it till you make it is my motto.
I hope you were not trying to be a brain surgeon. But that is kind of like strive for it. But
Did they? I think they might have mentioned fake it till you make it. Did they not in that chapter? Maybe I was.
I
maybe
think it's
just
in the
thinking of-
book. Might not have been in that chapter.
Okay, chapter 3. No, wait, chapter 2 was happiness is a problem because people don't understand happiness. We met the disappointment panda, who is my favorite panda, the spirit animal. He says the thing that you didn't want to hear, and he's not doing it to be mean. He's just doing it because it's the truth. And disappointment panda has a show tomorrow on this channel.
Oh, yeah.
Emotions are overrated. Oh, this is another thing we learned last week about choosing your struggle. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Pick your battles.
there's always you'll solve one problem and get another problem. Just like upgrade your problems.
Right.
You know, like have Kim Kardashian has problems, but they're like good fucking problems to have. Stupid Bentley broke a tire or whatever. Broke a tire. Okay, today we are on chapter 3. You are not special, and I don't know what this is going to be about whatsoever. That's actually first day job. He's a brain surgeon. He stays faking it. They're called
What do you do at night?
practicing.
Pole dance?
He moonlights at the strip club, yeah. Wait, what? Okay, here we go. You're not special. I once knew a guy, we'll call him Jimmy. I still know a guy called Jimmy.
Is he special?
He's very special. I actually haven't seen him in a while. I saw him the other day. I was like, whoa, it's like a puppy that grew up. Like, holy shit, you're a whole, like, adult. Feels weird.
Okay,
Jimmy
here's a
always had-
question. If
Go
you
ahead.
see somebody that you knew like 15, 20 years ago
Mm-hmm.
and you see them now and they look horrible, like they're huge fat or they're like they just look
Mm-hmm.
like shit. Do you like, oh, you look so great? Or do you like, hey,
Just, hey, I'm not going to lie to somebody like that.
yeah. It's like, oh, what are you? I always do the what are you up to instead of you look great.
Yeah, I met this one girl when I was drunk one night. It was a long time ago. And she was like my best fucking friend all night. And I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I don't know. We were never really friends. Like, so I was kind of standoffish. Like, I chilled with her, but She
drunk
was like
friends.
all my best friend. The next morning I woke up, I was like, oh, I was thinking she was the wrong Jolene. So my homie Jolene, that she was bigger back in the day. She was a big girl, and the Jolene I didn't like was a skinny bitch. So this was a skinny bitch calling herself Jolene, like looking. And so I was like, I mean, we weren't ever homies, but whatever. The morning I realized that Jolene had just lost a lot of weight. Now she's I was like, ah, damn it. So I had to hit her up. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize who you were. Like I knew I knew like we were from the same
Yes.
friend group, but I didn't realize. It was very weird. So no, I don't gas people up that I don't really like.
Yeah, I get that playing like rugby players I used to play with. Like if they weren't good, I have no idea what their names are, but they'd be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you since that game." I'm like, "Yeah, man, yeah." Like I have no idea what your name
Really?
is. Were you on my team or the like? I don't know. So I just like, "Yeah, man, how you been? What's new?" Like to try and like get them to like, give me a sliver of information, like who they are,
Why don't you say like I don't remember anything? Tell me more.
because I don't want to be a dick. I just because they're
Is that
like,
being a dick? Is forgetting a dick move?
well, I guess because they know like I was like the quarterback of the team, so everybody knew who I was. So he knew me and they liked me and wanted to be on the team. Like, so
Hmm.
I don't know, like a fan.
Oh
And then if
my
I
Lanta.
completely don't acknowledge that I felt bad for him, like, oh yeah, man, how you been? Like,
Wait,
you
were you
suck.
like the star player on your team? Were you like everyone wanted to hang out with you?
Uh, Not really. I was just
Oh,
the quarterback.
so is that just the same as like is ours are here? Like he's the one that the head cheerleader is with or whatever.
Usually, yeah.
Okay, so it's the same for rugby.
Yes.
Oh,
It's
that's
like
so funny.
the the scrum half handles the ball 80% of the time. So think if you have the ball in your hand in rugby, you're free to get hit by everybody. And I had the ball in my hand the most.
You did?
Yeah.
You were okay. This we should go watch those hits again now that I kind of understand rugby. You know, not at
Yeah, we
all.
could do a rugby like half-hour segment one of these days.
Yeah, I'll do it on my 24-hour stream. I need to write this
Ah,
down.
perfect. Yes, that'll fill in
Rugby
some time.
segment. Yeah, perfect. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're gonna get this. First Shot said he's a sex operator in the evenings. So if you need the number,
Phone or internet?
sex line. It doesn't matter. However you need to get him. Okay, let's learn about Jimmy. Jimmy
Yes.
always had various business ventures going. On any given day, if you asked him what he was doing, he'd rattle off the name of some firm he was consulting with, or he'd describe a promising medical app he was looking for angel investors to fund. Or he'd talk about some charity event he was supposed to be keynote speaker for, or how he had an idea for a more efficient type of gas pump that was going to make him billions. The guy was always rolling, always on, and if you gave him an inch of conversation daylight, he'd pulverize you about how world spinning his work was, how brilliant his latest ideas were, and he'd name drop so much it felt like you were talking to a tabloid reporter. Jimmy was all positivity all the time, always pushing himself, always working an angle, a real go getter, whatever the fuck that means. The catch was that Jimmy was also a total deadbeat. All talk and no walk, stoned a majority of the time and spending as much money in bars and fine restaurants as he did on his business ideas. Jimmy was a professional leech, living off his family's hard won money by spinning them as well as everybody else in the city on false
Sounds
ideas.
familiar.
I was thinking the same thing of future tech glory. Sure, sometimes he'd put in some token effort or pick up the phone and call some bigwig and name drop until he ran out of names, but nothing ever actually happened. None of these ventures ever blossomed into anything.
Man.
Yet the guy kept this up for years, living off girlfriends and more distant relatives well into his late 20s. And the most screwed up part was that Jimmy felt good about it. He had a delusional level of self confidence. People who laughed at him or hung up on him were, in his mind, missing the opportunity of their lives. People who called him out on his bogus business ideas were too ignorant and inexperienced to understand his genius. People who pointed out his deadbeat lifestyle were jealous. They were haters who envied his success.
I know like
Jimmy,
four of these Jimmies.
I know a lot of Jimmys. Jimmy's a dick. Jimmy
Jimmy
did
is a.
make some money. Yeah, we're gonna figure out. Hopefully this isn't a success story for Jimmy because
I hope
I
not.
want to see him eat shit.
Jimmy's never
Jimmy
succeed
did
though.
Jimmy did make some money, although it was usually through the sketchiest of means, like selling another person's business idea as his own, or finagling a loan from someone, or worse, talking someone into giving him equity in their startup. He actually occasionally talked people into paying him to do some public speaking. About what? I can't even imagine. The worst part was that Jimmy believed his own bullshit. His delusion was so bulletproof, it was honestly hard to get mad at him. It was actually kind of amazing. Sometimes in the 19 Sometime in the 1960s, developing high self-esteem, having positive thoughts and feelings about oneself, became all the rage in psychology. Research found that people who thought highly about themselves generally performed better and caused fewer problems. Many researchers and policymakers at the time came to believe that raising a population's self-esteem could lead to some tangible social benefits: lower crime, better academic records, greater employment, lower budget deficits, etc., I suppose. As a result, beginning in the next decade, the 1970s, self-esteem practices began to be taught to parents, emphasized by therapists, politicians, and teachers, and instituted into educational policy. Grade inflation, for example, was implemented to make low-achieving kids feel better about their lack of achievement.
Grr. I hate that.
Participation awards and bogus trophies were invented for any number of mundane and expected activities. Kids were given inane homework assignments like writing down all the reasons why they thought they were special or the 5 things they liked most about themselves. Pastors and ministers told their congregations that they were each uniquely special in God's eyes and were destined to excel and not be average. Business and motivational seminars cropped up chanting the same paradoxical mantra: every single one of us can be exceptional and massively successful. My kid, he was racing last week and he got 3rd place. I was like, sweet, that's pretty cool, right? Like,
Yeah.
next time you can get first, like, you can try harder, right? Yeah. And I told him, I'm like, when I was a kid, everyone got a trophy. And he's looking at me, I'm like, so like there's no first. And he was like, oh, I'm like, that kind of sucks. So he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
I'm glad you got 3rd, dude, good job.
Like
I just want,
kids play hockey here, and they're not allowed to keep score. But you're telling me those fucking kids all didn't keep score in their heads, and they're all talking their shit at, like, fuck off. Just let them keep score. Like,
yeah.
you need to lose. You need to understand losing's not devastating. It's okay.
Exactly. It's
Motivator.
okay. It's a motivator, yeah. But it's also like it'll weed you out. Like, what if you just are like, well, I'm really good at baseball, and so you're playing baseball, and it turns out you just didn't play basketball and get a trophy for that, and you would have, you know what I mean? Like, you
Right.
never know what you're good at if you think you're good at everything. Okay,
Yeah, look
but
at Bo Jackson and all those guys.
Well, he was good at everything. It's a bad example.
There was multiple of Bo Jack, like, not just Bo. There's like 3 or 4 people who've done multiple sports. But I think he was the first.
Okay, let's keep going. But it's a generation later and the data is in. We are not all exceptional. It turns out that merely feeling good about yourself doesn't really mean anything unless you have a good reason to feel good about yourself. It turns out that adversity and failure are actually useful and even necessary for developing strong-minded and successful adults. It turns out that teaching people to believe they're exceptional and to feel good about themselves no matter what doesn't lead to a population of Bill Gateses and Martin Luther Kings. It leads to a population full of Jimmys.
Fucking right.
Dicks.
True. So true. That's today. That's generation. What's Generation Z or whatever they are now?
Yeah, but it started in the 70s. We can't blame them for what we've.
No,
what is
no.
the
They're a
norm.
product of our fuck ups.
Our parents' fuck ups, really.
Right. Yes. That's a slippery slope.
Jimmy, the delusional startup founder. Wait, Jimmy, the delusional startup founder. Jimmy, who smoked pot every day and had no real remarkable skills other than talking himself up and believing it. Jimmy, the type of guy who yelled at his business partner for being immature, then maxed out the company credit card at somewhere, trying to impress some Russian model. Jimmy, who was quickly running out of aunts and uncles who would loan him more money. Yes, that confident, high self-esteem Jimmy. The Jimmy who spent so much time talking about how good he was that he forgot to, actually do something. The problem with the self-esteem movement is that it measured self-esteem by how positively people felt about themselves. But a true and accurate measure of one's self-worth is how people feel about the negative aspects of themselves. If a person like Jimmy feels absolutely fucking great 99.9% of the time, despite his life falling apart around him, then how can that be a valid metric for a successful and happy life? Should I read that again for the Jimmys in the back? Jimmy is entitled.
Jimmy in the back wouldn't think that you were talking about Jimmy in the back.
Jimmy, this is for you. If your name is not Jimmy, this is for you. I don't see Jimmy here, so that's why it's not for Jimmy. It's never actually. This isn't for Jimmy. Just Jimmy is the name of condom, right?
It
Or is
used to be
that
the
the name of
nickname.
the
Yeah, it used
wiener?
to be the nickname Jimmy's.
Yeah, so that's why it's here.
I don't know why. How'd that come from?
A Jimmy.
Was Jim the first guy with condoms in the neighborhood or something?
Like
Like,
Jimmy runs deep, so deep. Isn't that what? Never mind. Jimmy's entitled. That is, he feels as though he deserves good things without actually earning them. He believes he should be able to be rich without actually working for it. He believes he should be liked and well connected without actually helping anyone. He believes he should have an amazing lifestyle without actually sacrificing anything. People like Jimmy become so fixated on feeling good about themselves that they manage to delude themselves into believing that they are accomplishing great things even when they are not. They believe they are the brilliant presenter on stage when they actually can't even fucking read. Oh, wait. They on stage when they're actually making a fool of themselves. That's what that says. They believe they're the successful startup founder when, in fact, they've never had a successful venture. They call themselves life coaches and charge money to help others, even though they're only 25 years old and haven't actually accomplished anything substantial in their lives. Entitled people exude a delusional degree of self-confidence. This confidence can be alluring to others, at least for a little while. In some instances, the entitled person's delusional level of confidence can become contagious and help the people around the entitled person feel more confident in themselves too. Despite all of Jimmy's shenanigans, I have to admit it was fun hanging out with him sometimes. You felt indestructible around him.
why are there
But
so many spaces in there?
they're filling this space here. So this word
Oh,
because
okay.
this
You're
word
just
can't fit
making
on
it fit
this.
in the box. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's
My
some
bad.
kind of
I was like, there's way too many spaces. Like,
formatting problem. Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's just fit in the box. Perfect. My bad.
But the problem with entitlement is that it makes people need to feel good about themselves all the time, even at the expense of those around them. And because entitled people always need to feel good about themselves, they end up spending most of their time thinking about themselves. After all, it takes a lot of energy and work to convince yourself that your shit doesn't stink, especially when you've actually been living in a toilet. Okay, this is interesting because I've been calling these people damned narcissists, and it turns out they're just Jimmies.
I think Jimmy is a narcissist.
There is just an entitled person. I bet entitlement is probably just a narcissistic trait.
A delusional sense of entitlement.
Well, yeah. Once people have developed the thought pattern to constantly construe what happens around them as self-aggrandizing, it's extremely hard to break them out of it. Any attempt to reason with them is seen as simply another threat to their superiority by another person who can't handle how smart, talented, good-looking, successful they are. Entitlement closes in upon itself in a kind of narcissistic bubble. I didn't read this before, I promise. Distorting anything and everything in such a way as to reinforce itself. People who feel entitled view every occurrence in their life as either an affirmation of or a threat to their own greatness. If something good happens to them, it's because of some amazing feat they accomplished. If something bad happens to them, it's because somebody else is jealous and trying to bring them down a notch. Entitlement is impervious. People who are entitled delude themselves into whatever feeds their sense of superiority. They keep their mental facade standing at all costs, even if it sometimes requires being physically or emotionally abusive to those around them. But entitlement is a failed strategy. It's just another high. It is not happiness. As a callback to chapter 2. The true measurement of self-worth is not how a person feels about her positive experiences, but rather how she feels about her negative experiences. A person like Jimmy hides from his problems by making up imagined success for himself at every turn. And because he can't face his problems, no matter how good he feels about himself, he is weak. A person who actually has a high self-worth is able to look at the negative parts of his character frankly. Yes, sometimes I'm irresponsible with money. Yes, sometimes I exaggerate my own success. Yes, I rely too much on others to support me and should be more self-reliant. And then acts to improve upon them. But entitled people, because they are incapable of acknowledging their own problems openly and honestly, are incapable of improving their lives in any lasting or meaningful way. They are left chasing high after high and accumulate greater and greater levels of denial. Oh,
Do
that's
you
a
think they're
lot.
like sociopaths and just don't have a conscience, or just have like a weak conscience?
Weak, yeah, big ego, small, every type of small
Betas.
intelligence, emotional IQ in the dumps. But they're self-reliant. What was I going to say about this? To acknowledge your flaws and then work to fix them. I forgot.
Yeah, you can't fix anything if you don't acknowledge the problem.
Oh, exactly. But the good thing about this, and if you've done any level of like introspection and self like improvement, it's you are probably your problem. You're the only thing that's been there through every single one of your problems. I was the only one there for every single one of my problems. And
Right.
while it sucks to admit that I am the root of any suffering that I don't like, it was empowering because that meant I could undo it. If I did it, I can undo it.
Right.
So it was like, geez, that's like sucks because I'm the problem, but it's also great because I'm capable of fixing
I
it.
think a lot of people try to move to fix their problems and don't realize that you're the like you go to a different city. My whole problems are everybody in this town is nosy and is in my business. I just got to go to a new city and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
6 months later, the new city is exactly like your hometown.
And it's them and not you.
Right.
But eventually, reality must hit, and the underlying problems will once again make themselves clear. It's just a question of when and how painful it will be. Things fall apart. I sat in my 9 a.m. biology class, arms cradling my head on my desk as I stared at the clock's second hand making laps, each tick syncopated with the teacher's dronings on and about chromosomes and mitosis. Like most 13-year-olds stuck in a stuffy fluorescent classroom, I was bored. A knock came on the door. Mr. Price, the school's assistant principal, stuck his head in. "Excuse me for interrupting, Mark. Can you step outside with me for a moment? Oh, and bring your things with you." Oh, it's the bring your things part.
Yeah, that's
I'm
the
not coming
gosh.
back.
Yeah.
But
Wait. What did I do first?
yeah, not you. They would have sent a runner if my mom was here to get me for lunch. Why the principal
Yeah.
here? Strange, I thought. Kids get sent to the principal, but the principal rarely gets sent to them. I gathered my things and stepped out. The hallway was empty. Hundreds of beige lockers converged on the horizon. "Mark, can you take me to your locker, please?" "Sure," I say, and slug myself down the hall, baggy jeans and moppy hair and oversized Pantera t-shirt and all. We get to my locker. "Open it, please," Mr. Pierce says. So I do. He steps in front of me and gathers my coat, my gym bag, my backpack, all of the locker's contents, minus a few notebooks and pencils. And he starts walking away. "Come with me, please," he says. Without looking back, I start to get an uneasy feeling. I follow him to his office where he asks me to sit down. He closes the door and locks it. He goes over to the window and adjusts the blinds to block the view from outside. My palms begin to sweat. This is not normal principal
Yeah,
visit.
don't lock the door behind me.
Yeah. Start screaming fire or rape or
What kind of
whatever they
teacher is-
respond to.
yeah.
Where you from? Mr. Price sits down and quietly rummages through my things, checking pockets, unzipping zippers, shaking out my gym clothes, and placing them on the floor. Without looking up at me, Mr. Price asks, "Do you know what I'm looking for, Mark?" "No," I say. "Drugs." The word shocks me into nervous attention. "Drugs?" I stammered. "What kind?" He looks at me sternly. "I don't know. What kind do you have?" He opened one of my binders and checks the small pockets meant for pens. My sweat blossoms like a fungal growth. It spreads from my palms to the arms and now my neck. My temples pulsate as blood floods my brain and face. Like most 13-year-olds freshly accused of possessing narcotics and bringing them to school, I want to run away and hide. "I don't know what you're talking about," I protest, the words sounding far meeker than I'd like. I feel as if I should be sounding confident in myself right now. Or maybe not. Maybe I should be scared. Do liars sound more scared or confident? Because however they sound, I want to sound the opposite. Instead, my lack of confidence compounds. My lack of confidence compounds. Unconfidence about my surrounding, unconfident making me more unconfident. That fucking feedback loop from hell. Okay, got it. Instead, my lack of confidence compounds. Unconfidence about my sounding unconfident, making me more unconfident. I hate that sentence, but
Those
I got
spaces
through
are fucking it right up.
it. Are they? I think it's
Yeah.
the words for me.
I think if those spaces were gone, you'd read that like fluently.
Is Sparky and Chat said, "Are we talking about Nick?" No, it's worse. We'll see about that, he says, turning his attention to my backpack, which seemingly has 100 pockets. Each one is loaded with its own silly teen
I don't know what that
desiderata.
one is. I have no clue. I've never seen
Color
that word.
pens, old notes, passed in class, early 1990s CDs with crack cases, dried up markers, an old sketch pad with half its pages missing. Dust and lint and crap accumulated during a maddeningly his experience in middle school. My sweat must be pumping at the speed of light because time extends itself and dilates much that what is mere seconds on that 9 o'clock second period biology clock now feels like Paleolithic eons. Well, he's really saying he was picking up a lot more in class than he really thought he was. He's using the
He's
words
dropping
on me.
some, or he had a
What?
thesaurus.
Well, his sweat was blossoming like damn
Sounds like a
mold spores.
romance novel.
That's a lot. And I'm growing up and dying every minute. Just me and Mr. Price and my bottomless backpack. Somewhere around the Mesolithic age, Mr. Price finishes searching the backpack. Having found nothing, he seems flustered. He turns the pack upside down and lets all of my crap crash onto his office floor. He's now sweating as profusely as I am, except in place of my terror, there's his anger. No dogs today, eh? He tries to sound casual. Nope. So do I. He spreads my stuff out, separating each item and coagulating them into little piles beside my gym gear. My coat and backpack now lie empty and lifeless on his lap. He sighs and stares at the wall. Like most 13-year-olds locked in an office with a man angrily throwing their shit all over the floor, I want to cry. Mr. Price scans the contents organized on the floor. Nothing illicit or illegal, no narcotics, not even anything against school policy. He sighs and then throws the coat and backpack on the floor too. He bends over and puts his elbow on his knees, making his face level with mine. Mark, I'm going to give you one last chance to be honest with me. If you are honest, this will turn out much better for you. If it
That'll
turns out
lie.
you're lying, then it's going to be much worse.
If someone
As
ever
if
says
on
that phrase
cue.
to you, never be honest.
As if on cue, I gulp. Now tell me the truth, Mr. Price demanded. Did you bring drugs to school today? Biting back tears, screams clawing at my throat, I stare my tormentor in the face, and in a pleading voice, dying to be relieved of its adolescent horrors, I say, no, I don't have any drugs. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, he says, signaling surrender. I guess you can collect your things and go. He takes one last longing gaze at my deflated backpack lying like a broken promise there on his office floor. He casually puts one foot down on the pack, stomping lightly, a last-ditch effort. I anxiously wait for him to get up and leave so I can get on with my life and forget this whole nightmare. But his foot stops on something. What is this? He asks, tapping with his foot. What is what? I say. There's still something in here. He picks up the bag and starts feeling around from the bottom of it. For me, the room gets fuzzy. Everything goes wobbly. When I was young, I was smart. I was friendly, but I was also a shithead. I mean that in the most loving way possible. I was a rebellious, lying little shithead,
Weren't we
angry and full
all?
of resentment. When I was 12, I hacked my mother's security system with refrigerator magnets so I could sneak out undetected in the middle of the night. My friend and I would put his mom's car in neutral and push it into the street so we could drive around without waking her up. I would write papers about abortion because I knew my English teacher was a hardcore conservative Christian. Another friend and I stole cigarettes from his mom and sold them to kids out behind the school. And I also cut a secret compartment in the bottom of my backpack to hide my marijuana. That was the same hidden compartment Mr. Price found after stepping on the drugs I was hiding. I had been lying. And as promised, Mr. Price didn't go easy on me. A few hours later, like most 13-year-olds handcuffed in the back of a police car, I thought my life was over. And I was kind of right,
Overkill.
in a way. My parents quarantined me at home. I was to have no friends for the foreseeable future. Having been expelled from school, I was to be homeschooled for the rest of the year. My mom made me get a haircut and throw out all my Marilyn Manson and Metallica shirts, which for an adolescent in 1998 was tantamount to being sentenced to death by lameness. My dad dragged me to his office with him in the mornings and made me file papers for hours on end. Once homeschooling was over, I was enrolled in a small private Christian school where, this may not surprise you, I didn't exactly fit in. And just when I had finally cleaned up my act and turned in my assignments and learned the value of good clerical responsibility, my parents decided to get divorced.
It's all his
Fuck.
fault. If you didn't take drugs, your
I
parents would
tell
still
you
be
all
together.
this only to point out that my adolescence sucked donkey balls. I lost all my friends, my community, my legal rights, and my family within a span of about 9 months. My therapist in my 20s would later call this some real traumatic shit, and I would spend the next decade and change, working on unraveling it and becoming less of a self-absorbed, entitled little prick. The problem with my home life back then was not all of the horrible things that were said or done, rather was all the horrible things that needed to be said and done but weren't. My family stonewalls the way Warren Buffett makes money or Gemma Jameson fucks. We're champions at it. The house could have been burning down around us and it would have been met with, oh, no, everything's fine. A tad warm in here perhaps, but really, everything's fine. When my parents got divorced, there were no broken dishes, no slammed doors, no screaming arguments about who fucked whom. Once they had reassured my brother and me that it wasn't our fault, we had a Q&A session. Yes, you read that right. About the logistics of the new living
Awkward.
arrangements. Not a tear was shed, not a voice was raised. The closest peek my brother and I got into our parents' unraveling emotional lives was hearing, nobody cheated on anybody. Oh, that's nice. It was a tad warm in the room, but really, everything was fine.
Look
My
on the bright
parents are
side. Now you get 2 Christmases.
my parents are good people. I don't blame them for any of this. Not anymore, at least. And I love them very much. They have their own stories and their own journeys and their own problems, just as all parents do, and just as all of their parents do, and so on. And like all parents, my parents, with the best of intentions, imparted some of their problems to me, as I probably will to my kids. When real traumatic shit happens like this in our lives, we begin to unconsciously feel as though we have problems that we are incapable of ever solving. And this assumed inability to solve our problems causes us to feel miserable and helpless. A squabble.
Hey, good morning.
But it also causes something else to happen. If we have problems that are unsolvable, our unconscious figures that we're either uniquely special or uniquely defective in some way, that we're somehow unlike everyone else and that the rules must be different for us. Put simply, we become entitled. The pain from my adolescence led me down a road of entitlement that lasted through much of my early adulthood. Whereas Jimmy's entitlement played out in the business world, where he pretended to be a huge success, my entitlement played out in my relationships, particularly with women. My trauma had revolved around intimacy and acceptance, so I felt a constant need to overcompensate, to prove to myself that I was loved and accepted at all times. As a result, I soon took to chasing women the same way a cocaine addict takes to a snowman made out of cocaine. I made sweet love to it and then promptly suffocated myself in it. Hell yeah.
Hunter Biden.
I became a player, an immature, selfish, albeit sometimes charming player, and I strung up a long series of superficial and unhealthy relationships for the better part of a decade. It wasn't so much the sex I craved, although the sex was fun. It was the validation. I was wanted. I was loved. For the first time since I could remember, I was worthy. My craving for validation quickly fed into a mental habit of self-aggrandizing and overindulgence. I felt entitled to say or do whatever I wanted, to break people's trust, to ignore people's feelings, and then justify it later with shitty, half-assed apologies. The timing of this chapter is crazy.
Right?
My
This was
dog is
pre-scheduled too.
My dog's on the move. He might, I don't know what's about to happen. He might need something. I'll keep going. Well, this period certainly had its moments of fun and excitement. I met some wonderful women. My life was more or less a wreck the whole time. I was often unemployed, living on friends' couches or with my mom, drinking way more than I should have, alienating a number of friends. And when I did meet a woman I really liked, my self-absorption quickly torpedoed everything. The deeper the pain, the more helpless we feel against our problems, and the more entitlement we adopt to compensate for those problems. This entitlement plays out in one of two ways. One, I'm awesome and the rest of you all suck, so I deserve special treatment. Or two, I suck and the rest of you are all awesome, so I deserve special treatment. Either way, treat me special.
Either way.
Opposite mindset on the outside, but the same selfish, creamy core in the middle. In fact, you will often see entitled people flip back and forth between the two. Either they're on top of the world or the world is on top of them, depending on the day of the week or how well they're doing with their particular addiction at the moment. Most people correctly identify a person like Jimmy as a raging narcissistic asshat. That's because he's pretty blatant in his delusionally high self-regard. That's what I'm saying. I always thought Jimmy was a narc.
Yeah.
What most people don't correctly identify as entitlement are those people who perpetually feel as though they're inferior and unworthy of the world. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Go on, dog.
That's when you got to catch yourself. If you're feeling inferior or unworthy to the world, catch yourself and say, hey, self, you're being stupid. The world is a big place.
Or like maybe you are, but you're not special about it. Everyone feels inferior at some point.
Right.
Okay. Because construing everything in life so as to make yourself out to be constantly victimized requires just as much selfishness as the opposite. It takes just as much energy and self-delusional self-aggrandizing to maintain the belief that one has insurmountable problems as that one has no problems at all. The truth is that there's no such thing as a personal problem. If you've got a problem, chances are millions of other people have had it in the past, have it now, or are going to have it in the future. Likely people you know, too. That doesn't minimize the problem or mean that you shouldn't hurt. It doesn't mean you aren't legitimately a victim in some circumstances. It just means that you're not special. Class, it just
Right.
means that you're not special.
Just because you don't see everyone else struggling doesn't mean they're not struggling. You just don't get to see it. But you see yourself every day struggling.
Random. It just means that you're not special. Often it's this realization that you and your problems are actually not privileged in their severity or pain, that it is the first and most important step towards solving them. Often it's this realization that you and your problems are actually not privileged in their severity or pain that is often the first and most important step. Okay, so the first step is to realize you're not unique. Other people, not only do they probably have your struggles, their struggles are probably worse.
Yes.
But for some reason, it appears that more and more people, particularly young people, are forgetting this. Numerous professors and educators have noted a lack of emotional resilience and an excess of selfish demands in today's young people. It's not uncommon now for books to be removed from a classroom's curriculum for no other reason than that they made someone feel bad. Speakers and professors are shouted down and banned from campuses for infractions as simple as suggesting that maybe some Halloween costumes really aren't that offensive. School counselors note that more students than ever are exhibiting severe signs of emotional distress over what are otherwise run-of-the-mill daily college experiences, such as an argument with a roommate or getting a low grade in a class. It's strange that in an age where we are more connected than ever, entitlement seems to be at an all-time high. Something about recent tech seems to allow our insecurities to run amok like never before. The more freedom we're given to express ourselves, the more we want to be free of having to deal with anyone who may disagree with us or upset us. The more exposed we are to opposing viewpoints, the more we seem to get upset that those other viewpoints exist. The easier and more problem-free our lives become, the more we seem to feel entitled for them to get even better. The problems of the internet and social media are unquestionably fantastic. In many ways, this is the best time in history to be alive. But perhaps these technologies are having some unintended social side effects. Perhaps these same technologies that have liberated and educated so many are simultaneously enabling people's sense of entitlement more than ever before.
Yes. Hugely.
I just got a notice that Crowder is live, or he probably is over now because it's a Spotify message. It says, Elon declares war on media matters. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. He's suing Media Matters for lying about the increase in hate speech and anti-Semitism on X since he bought it. So he's going to sue the fuck out of him.
Interesting. Cool. This will probably be the last little part of this chapter, I would assume. The tyranny of exceptionalism. Most of us are pretty average at most things we do. Even if you are exceptional at one thing, chances are you're average or below average at most other things. That's just the nature of life. To become truly great at something, you have to dedicate shit tons of time and energy to it. And because we all have limited time and energy, few of us ever become truly exceptional at more than one thing, if anything at all. We can then say that it's a statistical improbability that any single person will be an extraordinary performer in all areas of life, or even in many areas of their life. Brilliant business people are often fuck-ups in their personal lives. Extraordinary athletes are often shallow and as dumb as a lobotomized rock. Many celebrities are probably just as clueless about life as the people who gawk at them and follow their every move.
Or more.
We're all, for the most part, pretty average people, but it's the extremes that get all the publicity. We kind of know this already, but we rarely think and or talk about it, and we certainly never discuss why this could be a problem. Having the internet, Google, Facebook, YouTube, and an access to 500 plus channels of television is amazing, but our attention is limited. There's no way we can process the tidal waves of information flowing past us constantly. Therefore, the only zeros and ones that break through and catch our attention are the truly exceptional pieces of information, those in the 99.9 and 199th percentile. All day, every day, we are flooded with the truly extraordinary, the best of the best, the worst of the worst, the greatest physical feats, the funniest jokes, the most upsetting news, the scariest threats, nonstop. Our lives today are filled with information from the extremes of the bell curve of the human experience, because in the media business, that's what gets eyeballs, and eyeballs bring dollars. That's the bottom line. Yet the vast majority of life resides in the humdrum middle. The vast majority of life is unextraordinary, indeed, quite average. The flood of extreme information has condition was close, is the two words combined. The flood of extreme information has conditioned us to believe that exceptionalism is the new normal. And because we're all quite average most of the time, the deluge of exceptional information drives us to feel pretty damn insecure and desperate, because clearly we are somehow not good enough. So more and more feel the need to compensate through entitlement and addiction. We cope the only way we know how, either through self-aggrandizing or through other aggrandizing. Some of us do this by cooking up get-rich-quick schemes. Others do it by taking off across the world to save starving babies in Africa. Others do it by excelling in school and winning every award. Others do it by shooting up a school. Others do it by trying to have sex with anything that talks and breathes. Well,
That's it.
this ties into the growing culture of entitlement that I talked about earlier. Millennials often get blamed for this cultural shift, but that's likely because millennials are the most plugged in and visible generation. In fact, the tendency towards entitlement is apparent across all of society, and I believe it's linked to the mass media-driven exceptionalism. Yeah, we used to call it keeping up with the Joneses until Kim Kardashian got on the internet, and now it's just keeping up with the Kardashians.
Right, exactly.
The problem is that the pervasiveness of tech and mass marketing is screwing up a lot of people's expectations for themselves. The inundation of the exceptional makes people feel worse about themselves, makes them feel they need to be more extreme, more radical, more self-assured to get noticed or even matter. When I was a young man, my insecurities around intimacy were exacerbated by all the ridiculous narratives of masculinity circulating throughout pop culture. And those same narratives are still circulating. To be a cool guy, you have to party like a rock star. To be respected, you have to be admired by women. Sex is the most valuable thing a man can attain, and it's worth sacrificing anything, including your own dignity, to get it. This constant stream of unrealistic media dogpiles onto our existing feelings of insecurity by overexposing us to the unrealistic standards we fail to live up to. Not only do we feel subjected to unsolvable problems, but we feel like losers because a simple Google search shows us thousands of people without those same problems. Technology has solved old economic problems by giving us new psychological problems. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Tech has solved old economic problems by giving new psychological problems. The internet has not just open sourced information, it has also open sourced insecurity, self-doubt, and shame. But I'm not going to be special or extraordinary. What's the point? It has become an accepted part of our culture today to believe that we are all destined to be something truly extraordinary. Celebrities say it, business tycoons say it, politicians say it, even Oprah says it, so it must be true. Each and every one of us can be extraordinary. We all deserve greatness. The fact that this statement is inherently contradictory, after all, if everyone were extraordinary, then by definition no one would be extraordinary, is missed by most people. And instead of questioning what we actually deserve or don't deserve, we eat the message up and ask for more. Being average has become the new standard of failure. The worst thing you can be is in the middle of the pack and the middle of the bell curve. When a culture standard of success is to be extraordinary, it then becomes better to be at the extreme low end of the bell curve than to be in the middle, because at least you're still special and deserve attention. Yeah, that's really true.
Right. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was their documentary. It's about social media and how the guy who invented or created the thumbs up button on Facebook said it was the worst thing he's ever created for humanity.
Oh, that's cool. I want to hear about that.
because that's what jump started the entire dopamine hits with the likes and the hearts. Like
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't a thing before. He created that and he regretted it. It's his biggest regret, to the point
Wow,
where he went out and made a documentary and exposed how social media brain fucks everyone.
that's interesting. On the internet, I find it a compliment to say that I'm normal. In real life, I'm like, I'm not normal, dude. I'm not like y'all. In the internet, I'm like, I'm not like them. I'm normal.
But if everybody was special, no one would be special.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
what he's saying here.
it's
If
stupid.
if
It's
special
unattainable.
is the norm, then you just call it normal or average.
Everyone wants to be captain. No, I want to be captain. Okay, everyone's captain, then no one's captain. It's
Yeah. Many people choose this strategy to prove to everyone that they are the most miserable or the most oppressed or the most victimized. A lot of people are afraid to accept mediocrity because they believe that if they accept it, they'll never achieve anything, never improve, and that their life won't matter. This sort of thinking is dangerous. Once you accept the premise that a life is worthwhile only if it is truly notable and great, then you basically accept the fact that most of the human population, including yourself, sucks and is worthless. And this mindset can quickly turn dangerous to both yourself and others. The rare people who do not become truly exceptional at something, who do become truly exceptional at something, do so not because they believe they're exceptional. On the contrary, they become amazing because they're obsessed with improvement. And that obsession with improvement stems from an unerring belief that they are, in fact, not that great at all. It's an anti entitlement. People who become great at something become great because they understand that they're not already great. They are mediocre, they are average, and that they could be so much more. All of this, every person can be extraordinary and achieve greatness stuff, is basically just jerking off your ego. It's a message that tastes good going down, but in reality, it's nothing more than empty calories that make you emotionally fat and bloated. The proverbial Big Mac for your heart and your brain. To,
exactly
yeah, the ticket to emotional health, like that to physical health, comes from eating your veggies. That is, accepting the bland and mundane truths of life. Truths such as your actions actually don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, and the vast majority of your life will be boring and not noteworthy, and that's okay. This vegetable course will taste bad at first, very bad, and you will avoid accepting it. Okay, wait. This vegetable course will taste bad at first, very bad. You will avoid accepting it. Okay, hold on. My dog's gonna bark for
but
a
then
second.
once
I'll be
yeah,
right back.
but then once you start eating your steak next to those vegetables, that steak tastes 3 times better than it did without the vegetables. So yeah, don't be no one's special. Don't be special. Be you. What's going on, chat? Oh fuck, chat's banging day. What's going on, everybody? Letting the doggy out. So yeah, just think if everybody's special, then now you're no longer special. Because if everybody was the captain of the team and you fight for years to become the captain of the team, and now I worked hard 10 years my whole life to become the captain, and now fucking all these guys over here haven't done fuck all. They now get the captain title too. Now I feel like shit because everyone's fucking the same as me, where I worked hard to get my specialness. You got to work hard.
Okay, sorry about it.
And we're
I
back.
just noticed that Jessica Reloaded is in chat. Good to see you. Long time no see. Good to
Yeah.
see you, Yeti. Welcome back. Okay. Special ed. We got the speds. We got the speds in chat. Welcome.
Short bus is the fun
Welcome.
bus.
Yep. Let's go. Okay. Once ingested, your body will wake up feeling more potent and more alive. After all, the constant pressure to be something amazing, to be the next big thing, will be lifted off your back. The stress and anxiety of always feeling inadequate and constantly needing to prove yourself will dissipate. And the knowledge and acceptance of your own mundane existence will actually free you to accomplish what you truly wish to accomplish, without judgment or lofty expectations. You will have a growing appreciation for life's basic experiences, the pleasures of simple friendship, creating something, helping a person in need, reading a good book, laughing with someone you care about. It sounds boring, doesn't it? That's because these things are ordinary, but maybe they're ordinary for a reason, because they are what actually matters.
Right.
Friendship, creating something, helping a person in need, read a good book, or laugh with someone you care about. Like, it's the simple pleasures. They don't say that for no reason.
Life's built on small pleasures. It's not built on vacations or buying a new car.
Like,
Those
those
are
are the
the
highs,
those
right?
are your blips, right?
Yeah.
It's the little things you do every day. Like, oh, I made my kids their favorite snack for school today. I put Rice Krispie treats in their fucking snack. They're gonna be so happy when they get gives you a little fucking dopamine hit for doing something stupid like just putting Rice Krispies in their fucking lunchbox. And people just try to, they don't even acknowledge that makes them happy, and it does.
Oh, my Atlanta, we made it to the end. The value of suffering, which is
Oh,
definitely
dang.
going to be my favorite
Oh
chapter.
yeah,
We're only
You
an
need to
hour
suffer.
in. I wonder how long this chapter
You need to
is.
suffer. Oh, I have a little clip about dopamine if you want to preview
Dopamine,
that.
okay. Yeah, put it in private
Find
chat.
it to put it in private chat.
Yeah, I did not expect this Jimmy chapter today.
No, Jimmy's like an asshole.
Jimmy's an asshole. Yeah. I know Jimmy.
Where is it? There it is. And it's a cartoon chat, so you guys will like it.
Yay.
Kind of a cartoon. It's like an illustration cartoon.
An illustration cartoon.
There, I put it in private chat. I hope it's the right one. Otherwise, it's gonna be embarrassing.
Yay, we get to see what's in your timeline.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows what I copy and pasted last?
Hold on, I made a mistake.
I think one of the most important findings
see
in the
this?
last few years in
Yep,
neuroscience is that while the molecule dopamine is associated with reward, it's more about motivation and craving. There's a really classic experiment now that people use to demonstrate this. You take two rats, and the rats independently, separate cages, can lever press for food,
This is
or they
us.
can
We are the
access
rat.
food.
Yep.
There's a little bit of dopamine that's released anytime they get some food. So we always thought that food, like many other rewards, like food, sex, warmth when you're cold, cool when you're too warm, is triggering the release of dopamine. But someone had the good idea to deplete dopamine in one of those animals. And then what you find is that the animal without dopamine still enjoys food, still enjoys other pleasures. So dopamine's not really involved in the enjoyment of those pleasures. It's involved in motivation, because if you make the animal have to move just one rat's length, believe it or not, to get to that lever, the animal with dopamine will work to go get that thing. It will work through some effort to go get the reward. Whereas the animal, or it turns out the human without much dopamine, can still experience pleasure. They can sit on their couch and cram their face with pleasure-inducing calories or what have you.
Your dopamine
Watch
overload, and then
pleasure-inducing
you're
things
depleted.
on the television, but they have very little motivation to go
humans didn't
pursue
have
things
TV
that will deliver them
50
pleasure.
years or 100 years
It's
ago,
actually
right?
what's
We weren't used
really
to this
driven
much
the forward
dopamine.
evolution of our species has been the desire to go seek things beyond the confines of our skin. And when I say the common currency is dopamine, what I mean is the molecule dopamine, when secreted in the brain, makes us pursue things, build things, create things, makes us want new things that we don't currently already have.
It's the
And
motivator.
so it has a lot
not
of
the drug.
dimensions to
So
it, but
it's
rather
the
than
dopamine. Didn't we just learn something? Like it was the people who are not the complacent, I guess, that those are the ones who change things because they're just not happy with how things are. So they're
They're motivated.
simultaneously not happy, but it's the dopamine that would make that they're chasing to get happy. Okay, the
To
change
change your
things?
yes.
Interesting. Even though they could get it the
Yeah, it's
same
not the thing. Like once they attain it, that's not the thing they really want. The thing they want is the like the dopamine motivation chasing
Right.
that thing.
That's why Elon Musk is still fucking making money because you're like, bro.
Right.
Okay.
than think about dopamine as a signal for reward, like a dopamine hit. We classically talk about it. It's more accurate, really, to think about dopamine as driving motivation and craving to go seek rewards. That's the rat experiment. And it's a way of tabulating where we are in our life. Are we doing well or are we doing poorly? And that happens on very short time scales. Like, do you wake up feeling good? Or do you wake up feeling kind of low?
Right. And I love the illustrations.
On long time scales. If you're halfway through a long degree or you're halfway through your life, how are you doing? How do you gauge that? Well, it has everything to do with how much dopamine you were releasing in the previous days and weeks and years. So you're always comparing it, and all of this is subconscious. But what's cool is that once you make these processes conscious, once you understand a little bit about how dopamine is released and how it changes our
You can get
perspective and
yourself
our
high.
behavior, then you can actually work with it. And so we go back to this example of the person that's not motivated, that can't get off the couch.
My life sucks.
That
Nothing
doesn't want to
changes.
do anything. Well, this is the
Is she in
problem.
a toilet
They are
of life?
effectively the rat
Glass
with no
box.
dopamine, but they can
Oh.
still achieve some sense of pleasure by consuming excess calories, by consuming social media. And look, I'm not judging, I do this stuff too, right? Scrolling social media. If you've ever scrolled social media
I've
and you're
done
like,
this.
I don't even know why I'm doing this, it doesn't really feel that good.
Yeah.
And I can
Doom
remember a time
scrolling.
You
where you
try to
see
get me
something
to do this every time we stream. I'm like, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going to go down this rabbit. I want to have you. It will feel great, but we can't do it.
just so cool, or you see something online. I remember this when TED Talks first came out. I was like, this is
Yeah,
amazing.
before they got
These are some,
gay.
at least some of them are really smart people sharing really cool insights. And then now that there are like a gazillion TED Talks, I remember spending a winter in my office when I was a junior professor, cleaning my office finally, and binging TED Talks in the background, thinking this is a good use of my time. Pretty soon, they all sucked to me. I was like, this isn't good. So what you need to do is stop watching TED Talks for a while, wait, and then they become interesting again. And that's this pain-pleasure balance. And so for people that aren't feeling motivated, the problem is they're not motivated, but they're getting just enough or excess sustenance. So they're getting the little mild hits of opioid, it becomes an opioid system. And if you think about the opioid drugs as opposed to dopaminergic drugs make people rabid for everything. You know, drugs of abuse like cocaine and amphetamine make people incredibly outward directed, right? They hardly notice anything except what they want more of, more. It's it's bad because those drugs trigger so much dopamine release that they become the reward. It's very circular. Only the drug can give that much dopamine. Nothing they could pursue would give them as much dopamine as the drug itself. So there's that. And then there's the kind of opioid-like effects of constantly indulging oneself with social media or with video games or with food or with anything to the point where it no longer evokes the motivation and craving. And this is really the new evolution of the understanding of dopamine in neuroscience, which is that dopamine itself is not the reward. It's the build-up to the reward. And the reward has more of a kind of
the build-up.
It's the
opioid
foreplay,
bliss-like
the
property,
reward.
which itself is not bad if
Which I
it's
hear ladies
endogenous, released from within. But when we can just sit there like the rat with no dopamine, gorging ourselves with pleasures.
Oh, so this is where the dopamine is released. So this is just the
Yes.
feeling you're getting from it. So this is how you get it. Oh, not this. This isn't when you get the release. Okay, I see
Yeah,
what's happening
dopamine's
here.
like drinking your beer, and then a half hour later it starts to digest and gives you the drunk.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
the
And people
chase.
want this part without this part, so they do all of the social shits to try to get the reward that they
It's
could naturally
the
get by
brain
doing the
kind of is
work.
giving it to them, it's just not the good
Yeah.
way.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. That's
It's like sports,
interesting.
right? You love playing the game. You haven't even won the game yet. You're in there, you're
Mhm.
fighting, you're getting hurt. I love the game. After when we won, like yeah, like
I just never thought about it like that. I just figured like, oh my God, I did it. And that high that you feel from accomplishing it is the dopamine release. But no, you're finally stopped long enough to experience maybe
oh, we won. It's over.
yeah,
Fuck yes, that was great. Yeah.
yeah, that's super cool. TED Talks reached their peak with Sam Hyde. It's been downhill from there. TED Talks were good 10 years ago. Yeah, it's trash now. Agreed.
TED Talks
TEDx,
died when they
ruined
started
it.
supporting pedophilia.
Autocorrect. Try watching 3 TED Talks for the class, and each one is 30 minutes long and having to write a page about it. I'd rather stop my... next
Yeah,
time you have a class like that, girl, just pay me. I'm going to do that. That sounds easy.
My TED Talks I just didn't listen to at work, so I had nothing to do but listen. So
Yeah.
I wasn't forced to.
Yeah. I guess if it's a boring one, though, you're like, fuck. Now I got to write a whole page about this.
Yeah, see,
Can
I'd only
just
watch the
do
ones
a
that like
transcript?
would give me some dopamine. Otherwise, I just turn it off. Like this is boring. This is stupid. But if you
Yeah,
had to watch a
imagine your
boring simple
fucking
one,
libtard teacher has picked your 3 TED Talks.
oh, I know that would see. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't think
so
I
to
could
speak.
pass school today. I'd get thrown out.
I think I could. I think it would be fun trying to navigate that system.
I don't think I could bend my opinions to write.
You don't have to bend your opinions. You just have to be subtle enough that you accidentally red pill them.
That's true. I can make it a game. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
What you end up with is somebody that feels really unmotivated, and those pleasures no longer work
Goblets?
to tickle
Oh,
those
those are-
feel-good circuits.
those are
And so there's no
participation
reason for
trophies.
them to go out and
Yeah,
pursue
yeah.
anything. The
I won my
problem
video game
is not
challenge.
pleasures. The problem is that pleasure experienced without prior requirement for pursuit is terrible for us. It's terrible for us as individuals. It's terrible for us as groups. And I have great confidence in the human species to work this out. But we are finding now, and we are going to increasingly find, that those who will be successful, young or old, are going to be those people who can create their own internal buffers.
your
They're going to be
ass.
able to control their relationship to pleasures, because the proximity to pleasures and the availability is the problem. If you look at the increase in use of drugs of abuse or prescription medication, which at least at the first pass deliver pleasure, pain relief, the whole issue with the opioid crisis, and dopaminergic drugs like Ritalin, Adderall, there sometimes is a clinical need, but tons of people are taking those recreationally now or to study. Huge dopamine increases are what those cause. That is a problem. That's a serious problem, because it creates a cycle where you need more of that specific thing. I would say addiction is a progressive narrowing of the things that bring you pleasure.
God, that's such a good definition.
And I don't like to comment too much on enlightenment.
Everything else in your life
'cause,
doesn't matter
I
but
don't
your
really know
drug.
what that is as a neurobiologist, but a good life, we could say, is a progressive expansion of the things that bring you pleasure. And even better, is a good life is a progressive expansion of the things that bring you
Oh, I
Purpose,
see what they're
meaning.
saying here. Addiction is the progressive narrowing. So I see.
Like, I like to
I
play
didn't understand
sports, I
that
like
till
to
they said that.
play video games, I like to play music, but the more you get into your druggy thing, I don't
Yep.
care about basketball, I like this more. I don't care about that, I like
Everything
this one.
falls away to focus on the one thing that you're addicted to.
The only thing, yeah.
And then you have nothing.
Then you have nothing, because that one thing that you chase means nothing. It doesn't bring you happiness anymore.
Yeah, you need to expand. Duh.
But your
It seems so
dopamine's
like
all
easy
burnt the
when you're
fuck out.
saying it.
Right. That's why people enjoy leveling up in the games. It's that stupid little dopamine hit. But if you go out and mow your lawn or do your laundry, you get a little dopamine hit too. You just don't
If
realize it.
everyone wants to level up in games, but no one wants to grind, there's no dopamine in grinding.
Right. Like, when I go out and I cut a tree down and I make my firewood and it's all split and piled, I'm like, oh, fuck, that feels good. Look outside. Like, look at all that hard work there. Just
I know.
sitting.
I rearrange my living room every time I walk by. I'm like, I fucking love this.
Yeah. Even just doing your seasonal, like your spring, fall, winter cleanups, do a whole house cleanup, clean your fucking bedroom. Like,
I'll
those
draw people
stupid
out. I'm like,
little
come out here and
things.
stare at the living room with me. They're like, who gives a fuck? It's our couch. I'm like, I know, but it just feels so good that this happened.
Try it. Just take today. If you're feeling like shit, clean. Not doesn't have to be today, but any day. If you're feeling like shit, you wake up, have some breakfast, have some tea, and then clean your fucking room, top to bottom, spotless. Clean your room, do your sheets, clean your sheets, everything, and then look at yourself and go, hey, how do I feel now? You'd be like, man, I feel pretty good. Look at all this. You will, if you sit down and go, how do I feel now versus how do I feel 2 hours ago? You'll notice a major difference, because you accomplished something in real life, even if it's stupid, like making your bed.
Exactly. King of All Yeti said, meth is nothing but dopamine. I used to think that dope meant meth or like a powder drug. And then I found out that dope meant weed. I was like, what? I don't feel like that matches.
Yeah, I think we used to call it dope. Our parents used to all call it dope growing up. I think
The
it was like a
weed, right?
70s slang, dope.
Yeah.
Because
But
it turned you into a dope, because you're just like,
Oh, it does. It really does. Okay. We don't do real meth here. We do pot needles.
pot needles, yes.
Thank you for that first.
pleasure, and includes pleasure through motivation and hard work. And understanding this pain-pleasure balance, whereby if you experience pain and you can continue to be in that friction and exert effort, the rewards are that much greater when they arrive. And so
Right.
I think that if you look at any drug of abuse or any situation where somebody isn't motivated or thinks that, now they may have clinically diagnosed attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but a lot of what people think is ADHD, it turns out, is people just over consuming dopamine from various sources. And also the context within a TikTok feed is, the context switch is insane. The brain has never seen, first of all, this is the first time in human evolution that we wrote with our thumbs, but that's a pretty benign shift.
Oh, well, that's weird to think
And then
about.
the other shift
Right?
is, normally
we're-
you walk from
we're
one room
changing,
to
we don't even
another,
see
or
it 'cause
from a
we're in it.
field into the tree.
Yeah, that's so strange.
Like,
That
think,
makes
if you
my
do
mind
this,
feel
everyone
weird.
knows exactly what you're saying. Like, this is a stupid, like, 20 years ago, this would mean nothing. Like, what are you doing? You finger fucking? You finger fucking?
writing
That's
a
what we
book.
call it, finger fucking.
Oh, well, we don't call it that here.
Yeah. No, our bosses would catch us on our phone and be like, you guys aren't working, your finger fucking. Well,
That's interesting. My other favorite thing that's not exactly at all like this is the fact that the first picture of you is the oldest picture of you.
yeah, that's
So
true.
your youngest picture of you is your oldest picture of you.
Yeah. Every picture of you is me when I was younger.
Yeah. Even if you're trying to fuck around with the Polaroid.
I
That's
take it
you
today,
when you're
right
younger.
now. That picture when it comes out is a picture of me when I was younger.
Oh my God, I wonder if there's a person in the world who's obsessed with just watching themselves age, so they do that. Take a picture. Oh
There's
my God.
awesome videos. Yes, there's videos on YouTube where people take a picture every day for like 7 years, and then they like speed through it. We can watch them morph. So he sits in front of his
Yeah.
computer with the same everything every day for like 7 years and just takes one picture, and then you see him morph and age in like
Yeah,
two
I
minutes.
saw someone do that with like their daughter or something.
Yes, yeah, a lot of people are doing it now because it's fashionable.
What's a pot needle?
You'll
Well,
find out.
it's where
Don't tell.
you do the pot between your toes so that
Yeah,
your coworkers don't notice.
injecting buds
Yeah, you just kind of put the flour in the needle
in the
and get it in.
bloodstream. Yeah,
However you could get
the
it in.
water in your body helps the flowers grow.
Yeah, we huff flowers in paper bags here also. Dope is an interchangeably word for all drugs. Or dope means cool. Yeah, I use
Yeah,
it in the context of cool.
yeah. I think a lot of stuff started one way, and then the next generation is like, "Oh, we're gonna reword that to make it us, like make it cool."
Yeah, you're gonna call me a dope? Well, I'm gonna own
Like
it. Now
that's
I'm a
sick.
dope.
That's sick. That was something gross. Now it's something cool. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is now.
sick and dope. What are
Yeah.
I
Oh, that
like
move
the
was so sick.
Jessica said and Nick Kato did that thing with vlogs and mukbang. You could see him getting bigger in everyone.
True. Just put that on
uh,
double time. Watch him swell.
Gross. What was the problem with him is that he blamed the audience. He's like, "This is
Right.
your guys' fault."
He was getting the dopamine hit from the attention.
That was sad. That was weird and
Regardless of
sad.
how bad it was for him, it's like might as well do heroin. It was better than eating.
Wasn't there a dwarf in Snow White named Dopey? Yeah, he was the
Yes.
pothead. That's
Yeah.
all of us. Ew. Um, if that's how you finger fuck, good luck. Never heard that term.
That's the Canadian style.
Yeah. Okay, let's finish
You
this up.
guys never heard finger fucking your phone?
These are
I haven't, no. I haven't had a, I guess I had a boss within the last 10 years. I don't know. I'm a great employee. I got good work ethic. I don't finger fuck while on the job.
Maybe it was just my
from
boss
a
had a good way of phrasing stuff. It's like it was kind of
Yeah.
like fucking the dog, but we weren't fucking the dog. We were finger fucking our phones.
We don't say that either. I mean, we actually probably say that way less than the finger fucking thing. No
You
one
don't
says
say
fucking the
fucking. You
dog.
don't say dog fucking when you're at work not doing anything productive. We call it fucking the dog here.
What?
Or if your boss will see you, leave that dog alone, and
Chat.
we have to pick the broom up and sweep some more. Like we call it fucking the dog when you're not doing your job.
And did you ever look at the origin of that, or you just understood that Canadians fuck dogs, or what? How did that?
No. That's a liberal white girl thing.
No, fuck you. It's a
Yes,
Canadian thing. You
no.
just
You take
proved
that.
it.
I haven't
Get the
seen
fuck
any
out.
Canadians talking about dog fucking. We're just trying to legalize it.
Jess said, is finger fucking your phone when you're rage texting? No, I think it's when he cybers. I'm pretty sure this is when he's talking to his coworkers. This is the third bot that's come in with that same link. I want to click it.
I've seen that. I haven't
VCore.
clicked it either. Should we block them? Should we ban them?
No, we don't want to block them. They're our friend. We don't block bots here. They ain't doing nothing wrong. I have used fucking the dog a lot. See, you're really close to
Yes.
Canada being a youper. Finger fucking your phone. I've heard it.
You're just too far in California. You're out in commie land.
Jesse, you can't say that here, Nova. They'll take it literally as white girls on Twitter.
It's true.
No, I don't think your boss is allowed to say any of the F words at all in America. It's very PC culture.
Yeah, I'm talking 20 years ago before the liberals.
Oh, then?
Yeah. Back then you could say anything you want. Actually, that's a lie. That's when it first hit me that shit was starting to change because I was talking to my coworker Raymond, he was a black dude, about I tried to get on the fire department in the city and they wouldn't even give me an application because I was white. Wouldn't even let me apply. And I was talking to him, he goes, yeah, my brother, he went in, he got hired like 3 days ago. I'm like, the fuck? Anyway, someone in management overheard me saying that I couldn't get a resume because I wasn't black. And Raymond, the guy I was having the conversation with, which was a friend of mine, was sitting right there, hauled me up in the office for racism. Guess who my union rep was? The black guy who I was having the conversation with. He's like, nothing racist was said. Like, well, are you sure? Because you may not understand because you're friends with him. It could have been racist and you don't know. I'm like, oh, now you're telling the black guy he's dumb? And then we were done with the meeting.
Oh, my Atlanta.
But yeah, it started like 20 years ago when everything started to go haywire.
So you think in 20 years black privilege is going to be trending?
Black privilege is a thing now. I can't go in a store and just steal stuff and walk out.
No, anyone can in California.
I haven't seen any videos of white folk doing it though.
Just that doesn't. Well, should I look? I'm not gonna look.
Yes, if you can find
You
2
want
or
me to look?
3, I'll bend the knee and say I was wrong. But I don't think I've seen more than none, 0. I've seen 0 white faces going into Foot Locker and running out with boxes of shoes.
Oh, you're gonna let me look at riots? Because there's definitely white people in the riots.
Not
But
riots,
if we look at the
looting,
ones that are
looting.
like Rite Aid, I think I haven't looked. Well, they're
It's
looting
funny they
during
only go
riots.
for the pharmacies. They don't go for the groceries. They're not looting bread or steaks, or actually they are stealing steaks.
They
now. They're
did one
fucking wired up.
one during the summer of love. They did all that shit.
Yeah, crazy.
I saw this one lady get naked in the bakery, not in real life, but on the internet. Get
Yes.
naked in the bakery and shove cake in all of her
I
crevices.
did see that. Yes,
You-
and over, she was like bathing with cake or something. Like that's got to be
She was
meth or
trying to
something.
shove it in her.
What is that drug? Because that should
Meth.
be illegal.
It's meth.
She was too fat for meth. I thought meth means.
But
you
either
didn't
way, what
eat.
I'm saying is they fuck up grocery
Yeah.
stores too.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's listen to this. White people loot. Yeah, they do. I should. Okay, I'm gonna push play and then I'm gonna find some looting videos so my racist co-host
hut
can
into
shut the
or
hell
a
up.
house or whatever it is. But now you can get
See, I'm
10,000
racist already.
context switches in that 30 minutes of scrolling on Instagram or TikTok. And so it's all about self-regulation. We are going to select for the people that can self-regulate. And so then people say, well, how do you self-regulate? How do kids self-regulate? Well, this is
can do it.
my hope, and one of the reasons I've gotten excited about public education and teaching neuroscience is that this is a place where knowledge of knowledge actually can allow oneself to intervene. When you think, I'm feeling
Knowledge
low,
of
I don't feel good, nothing really feels like good. Am I depressed? Maybe, but maybe you've saturated the dopamine circuits. You're now in the pain part of things. What do? Well, you have to stop. You need to replenish dopamine. You need to stop engaging with this behavior, and then your pleasure for it will come back. But you have to constantly control the hinge. It's not just about being back and forth on the seesaw. You have to make sure the hinge doesn't get stuck in pain or in pleasure. Understanding that pain and pleasure are in this really dynamic balance can also help us, which in the following way. Any pain that you feel, the longer day, the less sleep, the kind of agony that things aren't working, that power outlet doesn't work, or the internet is slow, whatever it is, the amount of pleasure that you will eventually experience is directly related, to how much pain you experience. So we know this from actually what nowadays would be considered quite barbaric and unethical experiments, where they would give people electrical shocks and they would measure their response. And then they'd say, we're going to increase it. Eventually they get to the point where a shock that was previously very painful actually evokes a sense of pleasure. Now, you couldn't do these experiments anymore. These are not the experiments I do in my lab.
It's fucked
These are
up.
older
We're weird
experiments.
people.
But for instance, and this has been discussed in scientific research papers, giving somebody
Everybody should try
a
it.
10-minute ice bath, for instance, or even a 3-minute ice bath.
I'd start with
or a
2-minute
1-minute
ice
ice bath.
bath.
It's quite painful, but there was a study
Nope.
from University of
So
Prague,
good for you.
the European Journal of Physiology, showed that after a painful ice bath
After you
stimulus,
suffer,
the amount of dopamine release goes up for 2.5 hours to 250.
500%.
What? What are you supposed to do with all this dopamine? Get warm?
Enjoy it, bask in it, put it to motivation.
I'm
Have
gonna
your
try
if you have a project like you're gonna rearrange your garage, have an ice bath before. You'll be high as fuck the whole time you're rearranging the garage. It's stupid, but they work.
How
so
long did
well.
they say
Even
you
a,
had to
a
sit in the
long
bath?
cold shower?
No, I don't do that either. How long? Immerse in 20 degrees.
Just try 1 minute.
No, I just want to try as I want it to work. I don't want to just torture myself for 1 minute.
No, it does work. Even 1 minute will work. It's you just suffering for 1 minute will make you produce dopamine that you'll enjoy.
What if
more.
I get somebody to give me an Indian burn
If they do it for a long time, yeah.
on 1 minute?
Once
right?
they're done, you'll be happy that they're done and get a dopamine hit.
I could just smash my hammer or my foot with a hammer for a minute.
That might cause an issue. A non-injury pain.
Oh.
You need to
that's
suffer
right.
without damage, I guess, is a better way to put it.
Let me think.
It's like a long jog, like kill yourself on a long 10K jog or an ice bath or something. You need to suffer to appreciate. But the problem is nobody wants to suffer anymore. They think a good life or a happy life is suffering free, which is fucking not true.
I don't know about this.
50% above baseline. And that's not because the ice bath itself evokes dopamine release. A lot of people think, oh, cold water evokes dopamine release. No, pain evokes dopamine release after the pain
That's
is
why I
over.
loved rugby.
Just understanding the
pain.
more friction and pain that you experience, the greater the dopamine reward you will get later. And that serves as its own amplifier
She went and got a
of the whole
coyote.
process of pursuing more dopamine.
I'll do that.
Sure.
I'd rather
So
do
the
that than the
keys
ice
are
bath.
to pursue rewards, but understand that the pursuit is actually the reward if
Right.
you want to have repeated wins. Then what you realize is your capacity to tap into dopamine as a motivator,
The
not
effort.
just seeking dopamine rewards, that is infinite.
So cliche, so true though.
What do you think, Chad? Did you like my little drawing illustration color?
After school, how to
After School is an
maximize
awesome channel. There's all kinds of little juicy brain candies in there.
fun.
He basically just takes other people's content and colors over it.
Wait, Theo Vaughn did this? Why Our Society Has School Shooters by Theo
Yeah,
Vaughn?
he takes everybody's. If he thinks it's good information,
He turns it
he
into a
wants-
drawing?
yeah.
Oh.
So it's whoever
is one of
the
my
after
favorites.
school guy is. And he tries to keep them like 10 minutes in that ballpark so people don't,
He tries to keep him 8 minutes in 1 second. 8 minutes is the max revenue. Don't tell me he's doing this for any other reason than revenue.
The last one we watched was
Fuck
10.
out of here. Oh, okay. He had a little extra to say.
That's what I say, 8 to 10.
Money, not for our viewing pleasure. Don't get it twisted.
2.7 million? Yeah, he's making a little money.
A little? He quit his job a long time ago. I'm just started this so I could watch it later. I'm not going to make you guys watch this. This is Theo. I don't even know what it's going to be about, but it seems interesting. And I like
Why
Theo
school
Vaughn.
shooters
Is it going to be in
are
Theo's
created.
voice? Hold on.
Should be.
How do you end up with people that do
Yeah.
this type of thing? How do you end up with these,
Yeah, that's Theo. This type
Yeah,
of
that's
thing. He looks like Cyrax. Oh, you did him dirty.
He did do him a little dirty.
The hair, if he made him bald, that's almost Cyrax. He needs some scabs, though.
All right, so I think we're done. I did an hour and a half. I have some videos to edit. I got a drama stream coming up tomorrow. I should warn my chat. Don't show up tomorrow.
And now chat knows how to get dopamine.
Yeah, go get in an ice bath or do anything at all.
And just pick something today and do it.
Yep.
Wash your
Finish.
laundry on your bed. Just do any little thing. And
Yeah.
ask yourself how happy you are before you do it. And then 10 minutes after you do it. See if you're the same level. Give yourself a 1 out of 10 for happiness before and after. And if you were more sad, tell me. And I'll say you're a bitch.
Wait, what?
If they pick something to do and they say they're sadder after they do it, I said, tell me, and I'll make fun of you.
Yeah, you shouldn't be more sad. Whatever you pick, make it be better.
Yeah, it could be
Sometimes I make a
anything.
list of things I'm going to do in the day because I like to make lists. It's my thing. And then if I do something outside of the list, I get to my list and I add that bitch on there and check it off.
Right.
Done?
And that's
Yep, I need to go get my dopamine hit. Check.
yeah, man,
Okay.
it's awesome.
Stay away. It's going to be disturbing in a lot of ways. Okay, it's really not going to be that disturbing. It's just community drama that we're going to air out because
It needs to be.
it needs to be, I guess. It does. I mean, yes. So I just want to warn my chat. Tomorrow's going to be weird. It's not my usually day for doing a show, so that's why
I'll
I'm
be
going
in
to toss
chat.
it in there. Nova will be there with his
Maybe. I hope.
stirring spoon. Yeah,
I might
don't
be
know when it's
getting
gonna
dopamine.
be.
I don't know.
Not looking forward to it, but also if it needs to get done, it needs to get done.
Right.
We
You're getting
didn't
your
bring it to-
dopamine tomorrow, and then when it's done, you'll get your reward.
But in the meantime, I have anxiety. Does that kill the
yes.
dopamine?
No, that builds your dopamine up better. It means you're
Oh.
banking it. You're banking your dopamine.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm gonna do dopamine needles.
I
in
couldn't
her.
sleep like the day before a rugby game. I couldn't sleep at all. Like no matter what I tried, just wide awake.
Puffer said I'm gonna go flick the bean before I do dishes. I'll get things done.
See, get the hey,
Daddy
did
said,
that
think of me, Puffer. She
as
said,
long as
sorry,
you
my
accomplish.
dopamine is my own.
Just don't flick it every day, all day.
Who says?
The dopamine will dry up and it won't work anymore.
Ew. When you say it that way, I'm disgusted.
Right. Remember, you gotta suffer for a few days in between, and then when it
Ugh.
happens, it's twice as good.
That's okay. That's your advice from Canada. Shoot, I don't even have my banner up. Nobody knows not to take this advice.
It's too late now. Too
Yeah,
late
it
now. There's
is.
no going back. It's official.
All right, so I will do 2 shows tomorrow. The second one will be in the evening. Like I usually do a Thursday evening show because it's Thanksgiving. I'm going to do a Wednesday evening show. It's going to be the
Yes.
end of remote viewing. Like I said yesterday, I went through and I clipped out the rest of the book we were reading so that we don't have to, like, the story is great. I'll link the PDF or whatever if you guys want to get the middle shit in the story. That's fine, but I just want to learn how to remote view. So
Did you watch the trailer
we,
for Men Who Stare at Goats yet?
no, I've seen it. I've
Oh, you have
been,
seen. Okay.
yeah, I just don't remember movies that well. And I remember peripherally, like, the conspiracy theories around that and a second movie.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to look up the second one.
I think it came out recently, like in the last, time flies. I would have said 2016 was 3 years ago.
It's weird, eh?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
It was like
Okay.
November now, and I'm thinking like I just finished July.
It is no, yeah, it's a mess. Time flies so fast. It's
Like we're like
another
a
thing
month.
that's
We're like
super
30
cliche.
days from Christmas Day.
30 days? No way. What's
It's
today?
November 21st, isn't it?
So yeah,
So it's not
we're,
far off.
yep.
All this knowledge, time's flying.
I know because I only do 3 shows a week. I feel like I don't have enough time to get everything done. I might add in a weekend show in the morning. We'll see.
There you go.
Because I got a lot to talk about. And when I was going through my folders this morning looking for shit, I ran into several folders of shows I never did. Like the Satanic Panic show.
Oh yeah, yes.
I'm the only, like, everyone I hear talking about it, they're like, oh, it's bad. It was stupid. It was all these things. And I'm like, it was real. Look at these.
Yeah.
Look at that. Like, I get mad. The
I
earth is
think
flat.
Legal
And
Vices did a show
this
on
shit
it.
is real. Yeah, an annoying show.
I didn't watch it, but I saw.
The one I tried to help was Eric Hunley did a show on it, and I was in chat and I was like saying these things, but he would say, "Oh, well, maybe that is. I'm not real familiar." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, you can't give him any information that he doesn't want.
he's a nice guy. I like
He
him
is.
all the
He's
same,
super
but it's
nice, but he's
frustrating."
also yeah. You can't tell him anything that he doesn't already know or want to know.
Well, with that, like a lot of people have their opinion on it. It was not real, and it was
I
the
think it depends
parents
which
and
cities and
Mhm.
if things happened.
That's
in,
what I'm
like,
saying,
rural
Yeti. They
areas.
found the fucking tunnels. They learned measurements for the tunnels for the light system in that school. There were 2 other schools, one in NorCal and one in I think
Really?
Florida.
I didn't know anything about tunnels.
Thank you, because no one wants to fucking look. You can go to the FBI vault right now
Ah,
and search up the finders and find the shit. That's what I'm saying. So I pulled that folder out to my desktop because I do want to talk
perfect.
about it.
Because I
I
don't know anything, so it'd be great.
It's a lot. So yeah, subscribe or follow or whatever the rules are here on Rumble,
Hit
so
that
that
like
you don't
button before
miss
you.
any of this dope shit that we have in store for you.
Yeah,
Thanks
spank
for
that like
hanging out
button.
with us. Yeah, like the video, leave a comment. Oh, we haven't done that in a while. If you made it to the end of this video,
Oh
it's
yeah.
only an hour and a half, so we should get a lot of people. What could they say? Tell me what your favorite, what?
Dopamine hit is.
I was gonna say that, but I'm like, what is that? What's your favorite way to
How are
release
you?
dopamine? We
Yeah.
already know
How are you
yours,
going to
Puffer,
go
but tell us
generate it?
again.
Yeah. How are you going to generate it today?
How will you generate
We know what
your
Puffer's doing.
dopamine? We know what yeah, but still write it in chat so I could come back later and read it. Okay, y'all, we're gonna take off.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
Peace.
Later.